Welcome to Cage Minds. I'm Micah Frankel, and we have a first-time interview joining us today, Manny Najera. Sir, thank you for the time. How you doing ahead of the fight this Saturday?
Doing great, man. The weight cut's going good. The work's getting put in. Everything's going to plan. It's like I couldn't have planned it any better, you know?
And it's been a little while. Unless there's a fight not on the record. I think I was there last time you were in action at Isleta. How's
Yeah.
it feel to get back to work?
I'm excited, man. I'm excited to get in there, showcase the new skills I've developed in these past 2 years, man. Especially when COVID hit, dude. I knew that was my time. You know, there wasn't really a lot of cards going on. I was supposed to fight a week after COVID hit. So they canceled, the New Mexico Commission canceled my event. So I kind of just had to go back to the drawing board and kind of work on the stuff that I felt like there were holes in my game leading into that fight. I was like, okay, now I have a little bit more time throughout COVID, this pandemic, to really evaluate my own game and, you know, fix those holes and come and have a good comeback fight, you know?
A comeback fight, getting to do it on a card I believe that you've been on before, if I'm not mistaken, or at least with the promoter that you've been on before. This one is going to happen in Carlsbad, right?
Yes, sir. You know, this card that I'm fighting on, it's an OG card in my hometown. You know, a lot of the older guys that I looked up to as a young man fought on this card, and just following in their footsteps in my own hometown is really it's the most exciting part of it all. You know, I've seen all the OGs: Dakota, Eric, Sammy, Shorty, all these fighters, you know, from when I was a kid, you know. And now that I can kind of represent those guys, you know, as I got older, they became my training partners and I can represent them. And that's the best part.
You're talking about the gym, the home, Carlsbad. Is there a name for the group for that beginning gym that you came from?
We were, you know, it was, there was an old gym when I was a kid. It was called the Cage, but it ended up closing. And that's where Dakota, Eric, and the OGs were started. And I would do grappling tournaments there when I was like 14, 15. But it ended up closing, and they were training out of a garage on Russell Street in Carlsbad. And you know, I got in a little bit of trouble, and I got sent to the New Mexico Youth Challenge out there in Roswell. And actually, one of my cadre was a Gracie Baja purple belt, and he would, you know, we would kind of go back and forth about grappling, talk about it. And he's actually a coach up here. His name's Anthony Padilla. And so when I got out, I already kind of knew about grappling and stuff, you know, because I wrestled. And I would only do, they would have these, the Cage would have these grappling events during the summer when it wasn't wrestling season. So I would go like, you know what, let's go do it, you know? And so Dakota and all these OGs, they kind of already knew of me. So when I got out of that, you know, it just, we reconnected, you know?
So when was it that you started wrestling? What age was that at?
I might have been 8 or 9, maybe a little, yeah. But I did city tournaments. Like my dad, they would have city tournaments where we were from, and my dad was like, "Let's just put him in it." And so I joined, and you know, I really liked it a lot. And you know, because a lot of my cousins and stuff, you know, they're as a little kid, they were troublemakers and stuff. And my dad was like, "Well, what's kind of a good way to keep him from not going down that path?" And it was martial arts.
18 years old was when you started training MMA. How did you reconnect with the sport?
I was actually driving through the neighborhood, and I seen Dakota Monroe on his bike, and he was coming the other way, and I kind of stopped like, "Oh, that's Dakota." That's, you know, and because you know Dakota's, he's Carlsbad famous. And I said, "What's up?" And he was like, "Hey man, I got a fight against a real good opponent. His name's Caleb Ramirez. I'm gonna be fighting him soon. And we need a body, we need a wrestler to come help me out to get ready." So I was like, "Yeah, all right, I'm down." But I ended up not even going. I was like, you know what, I just barely got out of this this program for troubled teens. I was kind of focusing on getting my life together. So I didn't really think about it too much. But then I ended up seeing the coach at prom, at my sister's prom. And he was like, hey, man, we need you to come train with Dakota. So I started training with Dakota. We got him ready for the fight. And then like I ended up getting in some legal trouble. So I had to go away again for a little bit. But I came back. I was 20 years old. And he's like, hey, man, Dakota approaches me one day when I first started coming back to the gym. He's like, hey, man, how do you feel about fighting this weekend? And I was like, what do you mean fighting? He's like, how do you feel like doing a cage fight? I was like, yeah, I'm down. I was like, where at? In Albuquerque for King of the Cage. And I was like, damn, I've only been training for like 2 months, you know? So, but Dakota knew, And so I ended up fighting Ty Miller my first fight. And that dude, we went to war. And that's in that moment I knew I wanted to do this. Like I was like, yeah, we're gonna do this because I liked it,
I even think following that, the last time I saw you bringing up Ty, I think I saw some of his coaches were in your corner for that one.
Yeah, actually, I moved up to Albuquerque, and me and Ty were already messaging after the fight, like, hey, man, if you ever want to get some working together. Because me and him, if I'm a respectful guy, and I know Ty's an outstanding individual. He's just nothing but a good dude. So I was like, yeah, I'll go check out Fit NHB. So I went over there, and man, it was just grinding. It was just, and I was like, yeah, that's what I like. And so me and Ty, we started becoming training partners, and Ty is not a slouch. Ty, we even brought the best of each other in the fight, and then we brought the best out of each other in training. And I was like, damn, this is. And Fit and HB, yeah, they're just nothing but good people out there. Shout out to Fit and HB, good dudes.
Living up here in Albuquerque, what is the feelings and the thoughts that come to you to return home to be on this OG card, as you put it, this weekend?
I just got to represent. I just got to go out there. Every time I go out there, I represent my grandpa. I represent Carlsbad. I represent my last name, So when I go out there, it's whatever the outcome is, I'm going to get my wins, even if I lose. Because that's just my mentality is I'm going to go out there and he's going to remember fighting me, whether I win or lose. That's the win in itself, is going out there and putting on a good show on an OG card and make them remember the name. Just make them remember the name.
How much different of a fighter, of an athlete, of a martial artist do you expect to be now? 2 years has been quite a while.
I was a kid, bro. I didn't know anything about nutrition. I didn't know anything about cutting weight. I didn't know anything about. I didn't even really know how to strike. I was just out there. I was always getting in little street fights in Carlsbad. I'm kind of, I don't really toot my own horn or whatever, but MMA is completely different. You ain't gonna take no one from the street and put him in a cage, and he's gonna be a well-rounded striker. So I had to grow. As I jumped in it, feet first, running. Like Dakota was like, "You're gonna do this because I think you can do it," and I didn't really. We did a lot of jiu-jitsu in Carlsbad. Carlsbad is a grappling town. A lot of wrestlers, a lot of grapplers out there. 2 jiu-jitsu schools, and so there, there's not a lot of striking coaches, So as I got older, I got linked up with more strikers. I kind of did more sparring rounds with boxers, kickboxers, and I said, okay, this is how I need to adjust my game to beat these people, And that's the growth in the last 2 years since the last time I was in the cage. So I think I'm gonna be different this time around,
Now, I've heard some stories. You've been at quite a few gyms. This is still your, introduction to the sport in a lot of ways. Have you had any of those moments where you've been starstruck walking into a gym? You look over and I'm sharing the mat with who hit you like that?
Hey, check this out. When I was a kid, bro, Diego Sanchez was like the man. He was my hero. Like, when I was a little kid, my tios and tias, they would rent the pay-per-views, and man, we had to have a bunch of people standing around the TV and stuff to watch Diego, And so when I was like 20, I came up here for a little bit to get some work at Jackson Wheat. So I went up, I actually lived at the dorms for a little bit, for a few months. And so the first day I'm in there signing the papers with Misha to get me on board, Diego walks in with a sweaty shirt. And he goes, grab this. And he goes, you feel it? And it's a sweaty, sweaty shirt. He goes, that's how you know you're working hard. That's what you need to do to win. And in that moment, I was like, God damn, that's Diego Sanchez. And I was like tripping out on it because I was kind of like I only knew the Carlsbad fighters, I only knew the community guys, a lot of them lived around me. So like they would have events and there'd be after parties down the street from my house, like after MMA fights. And I'd be like, damn, that looks awesome. I'd be a little kid. So seeing someone, on that level was just, it tripped me out because I was just, I never seen nothing like that. I've never left New Mexico. I've only been in these New Mexico streets. So those are the superstars, the fighters. We don't have no pro sports here. We don't have, I would say I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, but I'm not. I'm just a fight fan, because that's all we have here. Even when I was a little kid, my grandpa was always preaching to me Johnny Tapia, Diego Sanchez, Holly Holmes. John Dotson was the man too when I was a kid, So it's just like, I don't know.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I'm going off right now, but that was a surreal moment where I'm like, damn, I'm in this shit right now, like I got to get ready to fight again, and I made that turnaround fast. I did my first fight against Ty, and then 4 months later I was back in the cage because I was like, I got to do that again, and so I feel like I'm debuting right now. I feel like that stuff in the past was young Manny, and older Manny's about to debut.
And I got to even say, 4 months later, you were out there throwing Kenneth Brown around. That was quite an impressive one for a second amateur fight.
Yeah, but I feel like I could have done better because I felt like yeah, for sure, it was awesome, and I appreciate all the opportunities everyone gives me, because they don't have to put me out there, and even Dakota putting me out there, like. Me and Dakota, we had rifts in the gym. We've had, I'm not going to get into it a lot but even after all that beef or whatever, we're cool now. But I'll always have that deep appreciation for those people who brought me in and they didn't have to, So for the people to put me on the card, Fresquez, Mike Winklejohn, and be like, hey, yeah, we're going to put this kid on the card because he's training hard right now. It was an opportunity, and I appreciate any opportunity I get, I love striking. I fell in love with striking. And, I always was getting in fist fights when I was younger. And I was always kind of like resorting to my wrestling, like especially fighting in school or whatever. But now I've kind of fell in love with just being on the feet. And I think everyone's going to see that a lot. They're going to see a lot of new kickboxing, Manny, you would say.
It's amateur journey. It's been rapid. Are you savoring this and taking to enjoy the time learning? Because as you said, 2 fights in 4 months out the gate. That's pretty rapid.
Yeah, I just fell in love with it, dude. It was like grappling was something I'm gonna grapple to the end. I'm gonna be grappling here in New Mexico to the end. You'll never not see me not grappling. Even if I lose, if I win, it's something that I can't live without. I'm not gonna live without it. And fighting, I'm not gonna train grappling and not fight. So it's like I love grappling. The fighting's there, and I'm gonna do it. But I think I fell in love with grappling, and it made me fall in love with fighting. And so yeah, it was rapid, but it was all out of love. It was not out of something I wanted to be something. It was never I wanted to be better than anyone, or even I wanted to whoop people's asses. I just wanted to be training. I just wanted to be training and doing it. It's the best. There's nothing
Carlsbad Civic Center. Guys are having live MMA on Saturday. Manny Najera, thank you for the time, sir.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
This Saturday, October 23rd, Carlsbad Civic Center, Universal Fight Promotions presents Oil and Gas Halloween Beast Fest.